Okay, guys, I found time to come back, and I have got to a stopping point on the iris and the eyelid crease, and I've done quite a bit of shading on the eyelid itself, and now I've started around that raised part at the corner of the eye that I said looked like a macaroni noodle, and I've shaded out from the eye socket on to that raised area, and then I'm coming around on the skin on the face and coming up into that raised area, you know, leaving that white so that it looks like it's kind of puffy right there. Okay, then I'm going to start working up into this eyebrow bone area, and I'm going to pay real close attention to the fact there's a highlight right there. So, and I see that the highlight kind of goes, it's real bright right here, and it kind of goes like that, and kind of like that. So in this, I'm going to avoid like that real white spot. I'm going to avoid that, and I'm going to avoid this area for now until I'm ready to kind of grow the dots into that area. But I'm going to also pay very close attention to how I know the skin wraps around the body. So we're going to contour shade, and I'm going to make my dots follow along the contour of the skin. So it kind of like comes out from the crease, and it starts to kind of like move this way around the muscle and the fatty tissue around the eye. It comes up. I'm trying very carefully not to make any lines. You know, and it's closer together at the crease because it's darker at the crease, because you want to make that crease look like it goes down into the socket of the eye. Keep building this up. And I know the shading comes, I know the skin kind of bends this way around the cheek, so I'm bringing a few dots there. And I'm just going to lay dots in kind of where I know I want to go, but at the same time, I don't want to put too many, and I'm being careful that I don't create any lines. I'm going to go right up into the area where I know the eyebrow is going to go, and I'm going to pretend the eyebrow is not there, and I'm going to shade what I think the value of the skin would be under the eyebrow, because we'll put those hairs on later with a bunch of little dots. Okay, so now I'm going to keep working towards this highlight. Trying not to make an outline. This darker now. More and more dots. I'm trying to make sure I just tap the paper and I don't accidentally skid the marker tip and make a teeny little dash. It's kind of hard not to do. Lots of shading in this area. Oh my goodness, lots of shading. And again, I'm going to pretend the eyebrow isn't there. But I do also notice that the skin behind that eyebrow, I do believe, is lighter than the skin right here. I'm going to darken this a little more so it pushes that skin back into the eye socket. And now that I've done that, I notice I've got to make this shadow darker. Like right there. I don't think that's dark enough. Yeah, because every time I add dots somewhere to make it darker, then I notice something else isn't dark enough. So make those adjustments. Don't just leave them be. I'm dotting little lines actually right here because there are little lines. Like the shading comes out of the crease in little wrinkles. At least on my model. Back up to the eyelid, the eyebrow bone area. All right. Oh, I need a couple dashes instead of dots. Yikes. Come out of this crease a little more. Oh, there's another dash, darn it. crease sinks in a little more. Darken this area here just a little more, because this area is definitely darker than that area, and it's definitely darker than that area. Okay. More out here. My, oh my, I know this isn't dark enough right here. But I don't want to get rid of that highlight right there. But I do want to darken the eyelid right along the edge of the eye opening. Bring this shading up a little more again. Get some values in there behind on the skin where the eyebrow is going to go. Avoid that highlight. There's a few dots in there because I know it's not white. Make sure I don't make them too big. Yikes. Okay, and then, oh my goodness, I noticed these got to get darker again. Now that I've done that, this isn't dark enough. Okay, I want to add some values down here to push this eyelid under. Goodness. And then there are some wrinkles, so I'm going to kind of gently tap in a linear pattern, but try not to make a line. Add a little more values in here. A little bit of value outside that eyelid. Struggling to get that waterline to look like it's separate from the skin. Maybe when I get the eyelashes in there, it'll make sense. A little more shading here. Goodness, a lot of shading over here. Now I feel like I'm not differentiating enough between the whites of the eye, the waterline, and the skin. Try and do that without making any outlines. So I kind of come up and I dot near the line and then kind of jump away from it like I'm afraid of it, to prevent from having a line. I'm doing everything I can to avoid dotting in a straight line. Now I can kind of see the difference in the waterline of the eyelid, the whites of the eye, and the skin. But now it says this isn't dark enough. This isn't dark enough. More sculpting in there. Get that to round out around that fatty spot on your eyebrow. And this crease is definitely not defined enough. Okay, so I'm going to keep going and balancing my values all over. So I notice that when I work on one area, then something else isn't dark enough, because I relate this color then to this color. And then if this color is too much close to that color, but it shouldn't be, see, that's darker than this. So you got to balance your lights and your darks, and your medium lights and your medium darks, and your lights and your dark darks. You got to balance them all the time while you move around the image. Right? I'm going to keep working on this, and then when I'm ready to do eyelashes, I'll do another video.